Sorry, everybody. Hold on. What's up, everybody? Welcome to F.L.O.W Presents, the first one for the new year, and I'm excited to get back with y'all. We took a little bit to get started because we wanted to do it right. And so before we do anything, please, if you are on right now, like if you haven't, subscribe if you haven't, and please share, because I promise you this year we're going to continue to build upon everything that we've been doing to make sure that we keep engaged with things that are relevant to the Christian body. If you're trying to grow spiritually, and we're going to keep it light, we're going to keep it fun and engaging. So let me start off by introducing my co-host for today. We got Vondell and Dylan. What's up, y'all? Y'all on mute.
Hi.
What's up, y'all? So I just told everybody that we're going to do things new in this new year. And one of the things that we're going to try differently is we're going to have a segment called Come Quickly, Cuz. Really, we're going to talk about why Jesus should come quickly. And I don't know about y'all, but I've seen some things. So let's get it started with Come Quickly, Cuz. All right, everybody watching. So why should Jesus come quickly, right? What did you see this week that made you say, man, Jesus come quickly? I don't know about y'all, but here's my first one. Did Jesus come quickly? Because if we get another verses like Ashanti and Keisha Cole, it's a wrap, right? Like I was checking the internet. My wife sent me some things. I heard that Keisha Cole was off key with herself. Like, how you singing off key with yourself? Come on, sis. You can let the recorder do what it's supposed to do. Not only that, supposedly they were 55 minutes late after being almost, a month and change late? Nah, on that, Jesus can come quickly because it's not going to look too well for verses. So that's what I'm on, man. What y'all got?
Mine, Corona. Like, seriously. Like, every day is getting worse, for real. And the vaccine ain't no better. There's been a lot of deaths, weird stuff going on with that too. So it's like, yo, Jesus, come quickly, cuz.
What you got, Vonda?
Okay, so this one is very random, but I was rolling through Twitter through like this trending whatever it was, and you just need to come quickly because I don't know if y'all definitely would know this. The Mongolian prime minister had to resign, right? After people protested him wearing bathrobes and like nightgowns and stuff, because under his like government, whatever it is, some lady was put out of the hospital like in her pajamas. And they were like, we're not doing this. And so he had to resign. And I just think that's ridiculous. I think it's hilarious, but also ridiculous.
That's definitely one. Yo, here's another one I got for y'all. Jesus needs to come quickly because, the internet has no chill. Why is Bernie Sanders in everything? I done seen him in MMA videos. I done seen him doing the gang. He was sitting on Game of Thrones. Like, this just happened Wednesday, and he has been in everything. Jesus needs to come quickly because the internet has absolutely no chill. As they say, Twitter is undefeated.
He's in everything but office, which is where he really should have been, but we just not gonna go there.
Too soon. Y'all got anything else?
Right. You just need to come quickly because they took the Office off of Netflix. I'm upset.
Isn't this like the third time they've done that?
I'm upset.
It's on Peacock, right?
Upset.
I think they're on Peacock.
Ain't nobody trying to pay for that.
Look, streaming services are taking over. Yo, out there, if you are watching us right now, put in the chat, why do you think Jesus needs to come quickly? What did you see this week that made you think, Jesus come quickly? Cause I look forward to it. So that's going to be the first segment that we rock with. Every show, we're going to bring you some things that are relevant to, basically to our lives, to the host lives, to pop culture. Oh, I can't end this segment without this one. Jesus needs to come quickly because Mia Ponsetto had that interview with Gayle King, and she definitely thought it was okay to sit there with that daddy hat on. Like, no, ma'am. No, that's not okay. That's not okay. And then she's going to be like, what is she, all of like 22, 23, talking to Gayle, like, Gayle, stop. Just Gail, stop. Man, who are you? Nah, for that reason alone, Jesus need to come quickly because that's not right. That's not all right. Again, if you out there watching, let us know why you think Jesus needs to come quickly. What did you see this week that just made you shake your head? Essentially, every day, every Saturday that we have a show, we are definitely gonna make sure that we start off with some reasons why Jesus needs to come quickly. But yo, today's show we're gonna talk about traditions, talk about things that people are still doing. So let's kick into that, man, because we're gonna talk about you still doing that? Yo, what is it that you have seen that churches are still doing that make you go, yo, you still doing that? What do y'all got?
Whew. So I did a poll. I have my list is as long as I am, but I did a poll on my Instagram, and one of my friends said that there's a prayer group in her church right now, specifically for her, because she started wearing earrings.
There's an entire prayer group just for her?
An entire prayer group just for her, because she started wearing earrings. Now, mind you, one, they're clip-ons, which ain't even the point, but they're clip-ons. Two, y'all will make a prayer group for this. But like, there's people that have been sick and shutting for months that you ain't even called to see if they alive. But this is what we're concerned about.
Yep.
Okay.
Yo, so churches, it's crazy that jewelry is still a big thing. And I don't know what churches our audiences are watching. If you want a church that still makes jewelry a big thing, definitely hit us up in the chat. Because my thing is, like, is that really what you want to focus on right now? Like someone's earrings? Like that's we still doing that right now? And the title scripture, because I'm gonna make sure to pull out my eldest card. The title scripture that people use for that is so often used used out of context, because the scripture that refers to that is talking about how they were using and adorning themselves with things that were basically set aside for idol worship, and they had not only made the jewelry an idol, but they were using things that were unholy, right? But it's not even what's really relevant to salvation right now. You really think God is out here peeping people with like earrings in their ear? Because I know some of y'all watch a game is, what did they say back in the day on Fleet? Like, is that still a thing? I know I'm old, but like, it's not. Okay, thank you, Dylan. But I seen people's watch games. Like, people got shoes that like line up half of the wall in their closet. We focus on jewelry. Come on, man, we need to do better.
Yeah. There's one thing I could think about is standing so long in church for divine hour, like, and this is not every church. But legitimately, they will have you standing from like the opening prayer, song, offering, this, that, and it's like, yo, it's been about 20 minutes on my feet for real. Like, yo, I've been tarrying too long. Like, I need to sit down.
I've been tarrying.
I need to sit down.
Not tarrying.
I'm sorry, like, for real. Like, I mean, it's kind of annoying a little bit. I could sit down for the prayer at least, or kneel, something like that.
You know what? I'm not even mad about that. I'm mad that if you don't stand up, the looks these people give you is like you slaughtered someone in front of the church. Like, it's like you beheaded someone and started, painting the walls in their blood. Like, I'm just sitting down. You don't even know why I'm sitting down. My knee could be blown out. Mind your business. This is what you want to. This is really what you're concerned right now.
But let's be honest, though, right? Like, that's one of the things that people liked about Joe Biden's inauguration, because I swear they were standing up for at least 20 minutes. Yo. They stood up from the flag, through the song, through everybody singing, through the invocation, through the prayer, like, and people are still doing it. And it's not even just the fact that like we have people standing up and you asking why. Like, at what point why do we need to stand up for that? Some people don't even know. I've heard pastors say that you stand up in honor of reading the word. I kind of get that, right? Like, God's presence is holy. But why am I standing up through the invocation? Or why am I standing up through you just reading off announcements? Or why am I standing up to you shouting out everybody in the back of the church, saying, see, sister so-and-so. Come on, some church be doing it.
Yeah, it's like literally it gets to you may be seated and you're just like, oh my gosh, like
Can't even sit
like,
down,
wow.
just collapse into the bench.
Breathe.
Your
I
knees
can
just give out.
breathe. I can breathe. You know what, Dylan? When we talk about church service, that's one of the things that I'm still surprised that people are still doing. Oh, so I gotta pause, y'all. You see this in the chat? Somebody put Jesus come quickly because people trying to impeach Joe Biden 15 minutes into his term.
I mean, listen.
He hasn't even moved his furniture in yet. Let the man spend the night in the White House.
Oh,
Can we finish
mercy,
impeaching Trump before we go to the next president? One president at a time. You're
mercy.
doing
All
a
right,
lot.
let's keep. That was funny. But you know what's getting me is the fact that why do we still have 3-hour church services, even virtually? Why are we still having a 3-hour virtual church service? You're doing too much. You're doing too much. And those churches. I think I'm a true story. Before COVID, I think either at the end of 2019 or the beginning of January, I went to see a young man from Metro preach at another church, and I was shocked because when I walked in, not only were they still handing out bulletins, but like it was welcome, invocation, then prayer, then sit, then hymn, then announce. Like y'all know that traditional SDA type run format, the one that you're like, yo, we don't need all this, and everybody who get a platform gotta talk, right? Because everybody gotta get their 5 minutes at the podium. You know what I mean? You got feelings about that, Mondo? You got feelings about that?
You out here giving shout outs to Pookie and them in the backseat. I'm so happy you came back to church. Man, we don't got time. As they say in the business sections of whatever it is, this could have been an email. This could have been a text. You ain't have to get up in there and do all of that. You did not. The announcements are in the bulletin. I can read. It's fine.
That be the thing that gets me right there. The fact that you're still handing out bulletins. I remember when I stopped taking bulletins, somebody looked at me like I was cursing at God. Because my thought is, it's gonna be the same thing. Somebody gonna pray, somebody gonna sing, somebody gonna preach. What more do I need to know?
Right. That's the question.
Big fact.
That's the question. One other thing
I will say though,
Go ahead.
One thing in favor of the traditional like order of service, that kind of stuff, is that it does in its favor, it lends to a little bit of uniformity. So I know that at any SDA church anywhere, if it's a Black church, I will kind of I'll know, like I'll know enough to fit in. I won't stick out. So that's kind of in favor. But that doesn't mean it has to be 3 hours long though.
Right. That's the other thing that's 3 hours long. Like now, other thing that gets me is when somebody that was legitimately waiting all week to get up there on that mic and decides to pray /sing /testimony time, and we end up standing for prayer again for another 20 minutes because this is their time to shine now. I've been researching words. I've been reading my Greek. Listen. I went to all the Bible schools. All the Bible study schools. I got the Sabbath school pin on my, like, everything, and like they sit up there, God of our fathers of a million years. I'm like, all right, okay. Like, I need you to tone it down a little bit, if possible, maybe.
And that's, let's kind of live in that space for a second. I think my thing about church traditions is, why are we still like, what's the purpose, right? Who determined the order of service is what I'm basically saying. Like, who determined that we had to have the welcome, and then now every church got the mantra, or what's the word, their mission statement. Yes, every church got to read the mission statement. Like, who determined this, and why can't we just switch it up? Right? I went to a church in the DMV area, a non-denominational church, right? I was shocked when I tell you the cleanliness of service. Boom, opening. Welcome to the church. How y'all doing? Welcome here. Praise and worship. Done. Like 4 songs. Everybody up on their feet, doing whatever. My man came up right after that, preached the word of God, and they were out. Like, they were killing a couple of services in the day. But before we continue, man, I got a guest host who want to join us today. And I know y'all know him because he's been a part of a lot of our different things. But this man has also been a part of a couple of churches. So let's welcome Arthur. What's up, Arthur? Oh, hold on. I'll meet you. Let's try that again.
What's up, y'all? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome. All right, Dylan, what was you about to say?
No, that was it pretty much. Like I don't understand why people pray so long for real. Like sit down, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's a lot. Like and you just sit down for real. The mic is not your time to shine, right? This is about him, not you, right? So like, and I'm just saying. It's just kind of annoying a little bit.
Have you ever like heard like a short prayer at church? You'd be like,
Be so happy. Be like, they need to pray more often. Put them
you
on the
know what?
docket. Put them on the docket for every prayer ever.
Put her up every time because I'm rocking with her.
I appreciate a good short prayer. I'm not gonna hold you.
Full-blown praise and worship after a short prayer because they're so excited. Oh, I can move a little more now because my knees are free. My knees are free from the ground. I remember one time I seen a prayer so long that people start to open up their eyes and look at each other. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's still checking if their eyes still closed. Nope. You lock eyes with that one person that looks at you like, I'm fatigued. And the question is like, why? Well, what is that? Like, what is the purpose and point of this, man? But what else are y'all seeing? What else are y'all seeing that's still a tradition that you're still seeing in this day and age?
The announcements, man. The announcements. Like, and what's crazy is what announcements are you giving online? Like, it's just send out a short little email or something. Like, put it on your website. Like, what announcements? All you gotta say is just go to the website. That's all you gotta say. Like, it's
You assume that these churches have a website that they're paying any attention to. Most churches, if they have a website, it's the
true.
website that they first made when the internet was booted up, and they have made no effort to upgrade it since then. So they got the original website.
Yo,
Or
so
just go to like the Facebook. Some churches have like the Facebook because they can't afford an actual Wix little website. Literally, just go on Facebook, make your little Facebook, and just say, "Hey, look at the announcements on there." But yeah, like having those announcements, just saying every little thing, every like that's going on. It's like, yo, okay, like it sounds like Fox 5 News. Like it's like a whole 15-minute lecture.
and we like to let the church
50
body
minutes.
know
That's short. That's
that
short.
No, I said 50. It's like a whole 50-minute lecture.
Okay, there we go. That sounds more accurate. There we go.
because you got Sunday school worship, you got 6 different transfers.
Things we already know.
You have
You have to read off all the sick and shut-in names too.
The stick and shut in.
Now, by the way, there's about 40 of them.
Everyone.
There's 40 of them. We got to name everyone.
Everyone.
And then the
40,
prayer
40.
request after that. There's 20 after that. 40. It's noon and I'm hungry.
Right.
So,
the game. I didn't miss the game. Crazy.
Here's something that somebody said that churches are still doing, and it's a real one. Churches are still shaming people, shaming women. Let's be very clear. Churches are still shaming women for getting pregnant out of wedlock. Okay, my cousin is ready for this. You represent for the ladies right now on the screen. Yeah, what do y'all think about that? Like, have you been a part of a church body that has still that? Oh no, Arthur. That means you definitely got something to say.
I'm just playing.
What do y'all think about that? Church is still shaming women in 2020, 2021, 2019. Shoot, last 5 years still.
I think that, okay, so I'm not going to sit here and say that it's fine. I personally don't demonize it or vilify it. But the fact that it is only the women that end up in trouble is my problem. Now, sis, if you come up pregnant, especially if you're young, that's definitely when you need the most support in the world. You need people to come tell you and help you figure out what you're gonna do, how you make this work, this, that, and the third. Instead, they're like, "You messed up, get out now." That's the third problem I have with that. The fourth problem is the daddy sitting there right next to her in the pew. Nobody said nothing to him. He can come back next week and sing up on the pulpit. They go, "Oh, you were such a lovely young man, a junior deacon, etc., etc." He moved on up the ladder. He up there
Arthur said, "I'm
having
not
a
here for it."
grand old time.
Arthur said, "I'm not here
Mind
for it."
you, she cannot darken the doorway of any SDA church for the rest of her life. Okay.
Come on, Arthur. What you got to say about it? Right? It's not true. It's not true of all churches because you don't even go to an SDA church, so I know it's not true of your church. Your church don't do
Yeah,
that.
it's not true at my church. But first of all, we virtual now, so I guess we're talking about pre-COVID.
Yeah. Well, yeah. In general, but these are
Now
standing.
is the time to come pregnant and not say anything. Who gonna know?
Right, because ain't nobody gonna know. Like,
Y'all young people, that's not right. That's not right for you young people.
ain't nobody gonna know.
We are not condoning. We are not condoning such adult actions. But the issue, I feel like in my 30 house years of conscious church, right? Like I like being conscious. I like to be in church. 30 house years.
Conscious church.
Because like you could be a part of a church and
Say
not be
conscious
conscious, not being conscious of what's happening. Like it's ridiculous how certain things like pregnancy really does turn the church into like this mindless mob.
Yeah.
Like it's people gotta go, I don't care what it is, and how it's so easy to focus on the woman. And here's the extremes of it. They either focus on the woman in terms of like supporting her and getting together, or you must have been victimized, or you didn't know well, and yada yada yada, thinking like she knows exactly what she was doing. Right? Like let's all things equal, and we're not condoning any type of like non-consensual engagement because that's just terrible, period. But really understanding that it's consensual, they treat her like she wasn't fully aware of what she was doing. So, it had to be an accident and, it was wrong. It's like, no, sis knew what she was doing. She knew exactly what she
Somebody
was
tripped.
This ain't the Eminem
But the
song.
question is, why is there no attention on the dude? That's the question. Like, where's the it was
my
two people in play. Two people were doing work. It wasn't just one person.
If you focus on the dude, Arthur, let's be honest, then you're gonna have to call out all the men in the church who got their side pieces. You're gonna
let's do it.
That's a thread that we can't pull, because if we pull that thread, the whole
we
sweater
can
gonna
and
fall
we
apart.
should.
Misogyny.
I volunteer to
Misogyny
be the
in
person to
action.
stand at the pulpit and read off all the names.
She said, "I will personally do it." I really think that's the issue, man. I think
volunteer for that.
It's like white America. Let's keep it a buck, right? White America has to be careful about what type of crimes they call out, because if they call out the wrong crime, then it really will encourage us to address the entirety of both the patriarchy and white supremacy. So we got to be real strategic about. Hence why, let's keep it honest. That's why you can't really convict Trump. Because if you convict Trump of the crime that he committed, then you have to convict everyone like him to do it. So if we call out every man who gets a young woman into,
I tell you what.
I tell you what.
I tell you what. This is why, and I say this with no shade towards any black men or any men at all that are involved in the protest or the movement or whatever it is. But this is why all of those big movements and stuff, especially the ones recently, are generally helmed by black women or women of color. You know why? Because we ain't got nothing to lose. What you gonna take from me that I already don't have? I don't benefit from any part of this system at all. Patriarchy don't help me. Misogyny don't help me. White supremacy don't help me. All of it can go as far as I'm concerned. It's all up for me from here as long as those are gone. Now, y'all might lose a couple of steps, but that's a personal problem.
What? So I think maybe we should, yeah. yeah. I think you're right. Like, if we're honest with ourselves, if you look at any major movement that's happening right now, that is leaning towards any sense of permanent change, I think my cousin is keeping it all the way 100. Like, it's led by women, because for the most part, women are at the bottom. Black women, sorry, like, let's be honest, sis, because we need to call it out, are at the far back to this. And it's why there are some traditions that are trying to be challenged now. And you see, again, I think my point is, you got to be careful how you do it, because it pulls out the thread. Like, women ministers, that was a big thing in the Christian faith overall. Now, some faith bodies embraced it, sooner than others. But to have a woman minister leading a church, you could have a woman minister speak. She can pray. Saying she could be the best first lady. But in terms of leading the church, in some spaces, that was I can't do that. Despite the fact that the word said otherwise, which is why I want to talk about like this in all truth, this idea that we have these traditions and we don't know why we still doing them. Why?
It's literally just, we've always done it, so why change it? And unfortunately, like, it's kind of a, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of mentality. But it is broken. We've just been duct taping over the cracks and hoping nobody will notice that the pipe has 5 inches of duct tape wrapped around it, and there's another crack forming 4 inches above it. But we're just gonna keep pretending it's not there.
All right.
She preaching, man. Somebody pass an offering plate, man, because
that's what this space is all
she out here preaching.
This space is all about the authenticity of us showing up and challenging these things. And I think if that's not one I want to challenge, another one that I think I want to challenge that's really big to me is this idea of dress. I'm gonna give you an example. I won't talk about a church in Jersey that I used to go to, but if you're watching from that church, I hear you and I see you. I remember this young lady came in. And you remember when there's a big fad where ladies' clothing had things written on the bumper, right? And this lady has something written on her bumper.
Oh no, go on. I
didn't. And apple bottoms.
Wow, gentlemen, why do you know that? Because I know you don't wear the clothes, so why are you so aware of what was written on bumpers, guys?
According to my research,
buy. You can buy. The crazy thing was, our church kind of shunned her. She had to sit in the back. And actually remember, the crazy thing is, my mom and I were talking about it not too long ago. That young lady never came back again. She was shamed so much for her appearance that she never came back to our church, right? And I don't know if you guys are familiar with that song from Alanis Morissette, "What If God Was One of Us?" Like, what if that was Jesus? Like, what if Jesus rode up into our church, right? Decided to embody, or kind of send this as an example, this woman as an example, and we shamed them out of our space. Like, why are we still doing that, y'all? Honestly, tell me, somebody on this, one of y'all need to let me know, why are we still shaming people for how they show up to church? Help me out, please.
I mean, I think it's go ahead, man.
Now, I was just gonna say, part of it is part of like that respect for just like the church, and just like respect for like the institution of the church, respect for like, just like kind of revering God. It's like the argument from them is that like if like the idea is that you wear your best to church because like it's like you're coming to worship God and community. So the idea is like, why would you wear something that like is not your best? But I would argue that like some people just don't know. Like, first of all, some people just can't afford better dress, first of all. And the second of all, some people just like don't understand like that concept and like they don't have that etiquette. So it's really up to us to, still welcome them and explain to them later that, hey, like there's more appropriate things to wear. So I'm not saying that the jeans are necessarily bad, but I'm saying like if you're wearing clothes that's like distracting from like the message, like that, like you're wearing like booty shorts, or like a dude is wearing like a muscle shirt and he actually goes to the gym, like stuff like that. Like that's really distracting from.
Like now, but I follow him on Instagram and I'm calling him out for that type of clothing when he wear to church.
Call it out. Call it out.
I ain't gonna call him by name. You know who he is. You know who he is. Go ahead. My bad, Arthur. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's just like I feel like I feel like it's a situation where you have to kind of bring them to the side and say, hey, like you can't necessarily like you can't wear this. Like this is there's like a dress code because of the fact that it can be very distracting from like the preaching moment, from the worship moment, things like that. But I think that every church has like a fine line, and like every church has like their different line, even in like the same denomination. Like I don't think it's a denominational thing more so than it's like an actual church congregational thing, because some traditions are different based like that's like beyond just the congregation. I mean just the denomination.
Facts. Dylan, what you was gonna say? So I think Arthur definitely dropped some knowledge there.
That comment in the chat there, no jeans, no sneakers, no spaghetti straps. That is wow. Sheesh.
That's club wear. That's the fine club wear.
Yo, no games.
For
no games. Like, I mean, that's true. I mean, it is what it is, but I think we got social standards and stuff like that we've all set and created. In our churches, realistically, a lot of us came from a family that wasn't necessarily, rich or upper middle class or whatever. And now there's this from our family and from our cultural background. Now there's this need or desire to overcompensate. Like, all right, now I got to wear the best stuff. I got to come, dressed in the Gucci tie and this, that, and the fourth. It's prayer meeting. Tie and three-piece suit. It's the social after church, tie and three-piece suit. It's the church picnic, tie and three-piece suit with the Kango hat. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
why the church picnic?
Like, I promise you will never find a like an older Caribbean guy that's like legitimately he's been going to church all his life. Like, yo, I don't know what it is, but it's like they're just in Class A attire all the time. And I'm just like, yo, you can't be doing that no more, man. Yo, like, take your tie off.
Arthur, you said something, right? And I think you called out this idea of best. And I saw somebody post best as relative. And Dylan, you this idea of uniformity, or essentially basically uniform, like you had a uniform to wear. And I remember there's a Pastor Marquise Johns who did a great sermon across like the different generations and the things that shaped them. My thing is, though, it's so entrenched, it's so inflexible that it actually hurts more than help. Like, I get it, right? Like, if you go back even to American history, Black American history, when you got a chance to go to church, you absolutely put on your best, because throughout the week, all you wore was your serving clothes, right? Like, you had one dress, and these are the things you worked in. So if you got a chance to go to church, you put on your best because you didn't want to show up in the thing that reminds you of the week. You want to. But it's 2020, it's 2019, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's 2021. Like, some of us look worse in some of the church clothes that we wear, and look better in the loose clothes. In fact, I think somebody in the chat talked about both men and women be showing up in things that essentially are ratchet. Like, guys, sometimes we know, like, I bias medium. I got no shame in it, right? Until I started working out, I intentionally because the medium definitely accentuated certain arm curves, right? But dudes now are wearing these tight pants, right? Slim fit. Like, first of all, this is my PSA announcement to everybody. I'm naturally slim. Don't take my slim clothes, right? If you don't need to wear a 30 or 32, don't do that, okay? Don't help. Wear your size, boss. Wear your size. Because when I go to H&M, right? Like, I want to be able to get my size, not because you try and look tight in your clothes. But anyway, that's a whole different thing.
But Rob, there's a guy that's sitting there trying to be chosen, right? And he's working out all week, and Sister Miriam is on that praise team. And if he doesn't wear that size medium pants with his suit, she's not going to be, attract her to see him in the crowd. So he has to, dress.
Shouldn't we be calling that out? Like, shouldn't we really be calling out the idea of like what you, as Arthur said, that's the truth of it. We need to be mindful of what we wear, because if it distracts us from getting close to God, that's the issue. The issue ain't really the fact that whether I wear a suit all the time, because I can be twice as ratchet in a nice right suit, and I can distract Sister So-and-so than if I was to come through with my jeans and my sweater.
Oh,
we gotta be honest about it.
Suit, please.
Look at that. Look at her. Look at her. Jesus.
Huh?
Well, like, what's better is to come in versatility. Like, if you can come one day with a suit and one day with some regular clothes and just show that versatility, I feel like that's like a better a better way to holler at it.
I mean, I want to throw something
I
out there as
will-
well. Go ahead.
I will say when it comes to like dress code, that kind of stuff. I think somebody in the chat on YouTube that because you guys were talking about the general idea of coming to church and dressed up is you come with your best, and someone said your best is relative. I've seen people, especially people who I'm like third or fourth generation SDA. I've been in the church.
Oh, that's not a thing. That's not a thing.
In the womb. So, what do you mean? Anyway, I was at church in the womb, okay, in Mary Jane's frilly lace socks and a dress. So I know what a traditional church would expect of me. But if someone is like coming into a church, like at one of the old churches, we had a really, really nice choir that I was a part of. I'm gonna brag on my choir. We was nice. And one days when we sang, we would leave the doors open. So people would wander in because they would hear the singing and be like, yo, what's going on? And if people come in wearing, I mean, these are street clothes. They come wearing whatever. I'm not going to judge them for that because they're literally coming off the street. I'm also not going to judge someone for they've just come to Christ. They've just, been converted. They just come to know God, started coming to church. Right now, their best is their best jeans, some nice Jordans, and their cleanest shirt. Now, that's not the best I'm accustomed to, but I'm definitely not gonna tell them, nah, you can't come to church wearing that. They don't got nothing else.
Yeah.
They ain't never been to church before in their life. They don't have a suit, tie, none of that. So I'm telling them, no, you can't wear that. They're not gonna come back because now they're like, oh, what I have is not good enough for the Lord, which is my issue generally with the dress code. My other problem is that, okay, so
take your time. Take your time.
Yeah. So I think it's Arthur that said something along the lines of distracting other people, like whatever you're wearing could distract other people from what they're supposed to be focusing on, the pulpit, et cetera.
He's ready.
Now, I'm going to speak from the womanly perspective of some women cannot control that the Lord gave them more curves than a Coke bottle. That is not their fault.
Wow.
Now, no matter what dress they wearing, if somebody's open to being sidetracked, they gonna be sidetracked. Sis could come in a garbage bag, okay? It's not gonna make a difference. If she came in a burlap sack, someone's still gonna find a problem. What you gonna tell her? Stay home? You too curvy. You can't come. Like what? And especially as a woman, you want to look presentable, but being presentable almost runs parallel to being pretty or being attractive. So short of you coming in and not you can't come in and be presentable and not be attractive. Like you kind of just cannot. I'm not going to say that men can come in looking all types of ways, but you guys do, like, you being presentable, it does not run always parallel to being attractive. Like there's a difference between a guy can just look presentable and just look fine, and then there is him looking attractive where you got your shape up, everything is cut nice, everything is like, there's a difference. Whereas for women, there is not necessarily that gap. So if you're telling me that I have to come in and not distract anybody, if someone thinks I look pretty or look nice, then I can't control that. And one more side thing to that. I know I've been one more side thing to that.
Go ahead. What you gotta do?
A lot of, I think I had this conversation with my aunt once. A lot of girls that grow up in the church, when you go through puberty, your body shocks you. Your body just springs something on you. And a lot of women just don't learn how to dress in a way for their body. And I think that is also a problem. And rather than an old woman in the church coming to that young lady and saying, okay, this what you're wearing. And by the way, you can't just jump at this person and you've never talked to them before in their life. But someone who has a relationship with this young lady, or even a young man, and coming to them and saying, what you're wearing right now is not doing you no favors. Now, here's what we gonna do. I'm asking mama or I'm asking daddy if we could go down to the mall one day, and I'm gonna show you how to pick out some clothes that help you.
You're welcome.
So you
cousin.
look like people.
You're welcome.
So you're not out here in a shirt that's, thank you, in a skirt that's 2 inches lower than all your business because you figured that's what it was to be cute or that's what it was to be presentable. No one told you otherwise. Likewise for young men. Y'all out here wearing them suits off the rack. That's 4 times what you need to be wearing. There's a big man out there right now that can't find his size because you wearing it. You are a size small. Take your small suit jacket, wear it, and be happy with it. The 90s are over. You don't have to wear oversized clothing. No older man is taking these young men aside, being like, brother, I'm gonna teach you how to pick yourself out a nice suit that's gonna fit with you. You got narrow shoulders, you got wide shoulders. You actually, you got the Dorito. I'm gonna show you how to pick something that helps you out. People are doing that, which I think you end up with young people that grow into adults that don't know how to pick out clothes for them and their body shape. All right, now I'm done.
Go ahead, Arthur. Go ahead, because there was so much in there.
Yes, the
Dorito. No arms, no legs.
Just the Dorito.
Yeah.
Yo, because there's somebody said something in the chat that I kind of want to approach, and my cousin got some things. Go ahead, Arthur.
No,
she said Dorito. We need to. Yeah, that's the thing.
We're agreeing. What I said was parallel to what you said. Okay. I feel like I said it just like a different way. In no way am I suggesting that a woman with curves gotta wear a garbage bag or anything like that. I'm saying that when a woman comes to church and it's her first time, like let's say it's just like a first time visitor, she might come in however she comes. She might have just came right off the street. You feel what I'm saying? It's not even about like her even going to the house and getting ready. She could have came however she came. So my emphasis was how we approach when somebody comes into church and they're dressed that like not appropriately, in the sense of they are distracting from the church service. They're distracting from worship. They're distracting from the sermon, things of that nature. And so, if she comes in and she's wearing like whatever her body looks like, if she comes in wearing, a tank top with no bra and she's wearing booty shorts, things like that, that's distracting from, that's just literally distracting from the whole experience of church. So that's the thing. But if a woman comes in and she has an appropriate dress, a dress that she will wear on like a work interview or something like that, right? Like a dress or a outfit that's appropriate for business casual or like something of that nature, or even just like, SDA casual, however y'all dress, things of that nature. If she came in like that and she was still very curvy, you feel what I'm saying? It's not her responsibility to be trying to, please like other men being like overly sexualizing her body and things like of that nature. Like that's not her responsibility. Like, so, but the problem is when she knows that she has those curves and she still comes in with the booty shorts. So like that's the problem. So and then what was like the last thing that you said? I forgot the last thing. I was still on point too, but yeah, like the point is like when we approach these people, we shouldn't approach them just
guidance, yeah,
just like in like the middle of service. Hey, what you got on? That's we can't do that. We have to pull them to the side and kind of neatly do it, like.
Yeah.
So, and then I feel like what's like also good is if I'm a guy, I'm like, I'm in my 20s and I'm young. If somebody that's in her 40s comes in and it's a woman and she comes in and she's curvaceous and she has booty shorts, there's somebody in the church that's better equipped to talk to her than me, right? So because I'm not her age bracket, I'm not her gender, you know what I'm saying? And so, or like I'm not her sex. And so the thing is, there might be somebody else in the church that can help her with that. Somebody else that's around, that's her same gender or sexual orientation. Somebody else that can relate to her in terms of her age, things like that. Because if somebody that's too old or too young comes to that person and approaches that person at whatever time, it may come across wrong, especially if it's a stranger, especially somebody who's new. So yeah, just if somebody comes in that's like a guy, right, a black man, young, young, and he comes in and he's sagging,
First of
and
all, he gonna get
like
jumped,
the
so
dusties,
it doesn't matter.
you know what I'm saying? His butters are dirty, and
Ooh, not dirty butters, though.
and like he has on like a whole wife beater with like a snapback, and you know what I'm saying? So like I feel like I can approach him because he's in my age, you know what I'm saying? And like, I can approach him. But somebody that's like an older woman in the church, we revere elders and like the black community in general and everything, but it may come off a little bit antagonizing if she does it rather than me.
Arthur, I want to address the two things that y'all talking about for real. And it's in this comment right here. I'm gonna post up. Jessica Hyde also posted this comment that I want us to look at, right? This is why it's more of a tradition in cultural norms and less about spiritual guidance because of this fact right here. Don't know. For some people, they've switched how they come to church, right? Because church is virtual. I done seen people with their hairnet still on. I done seen people in the full pajamas. I done seen people not at all because Zoom, all you got is a name. Like, because it don't matter, right? Because they're coming for the word. But the moment you open up the building again in full, you're going to see people flip and get dressed to the nines. We've all clowned that pastor that during COVID came to church virtually in the full suit. I've done it. Like, I've clowned you thinking, yo, dude, don't nobody care if you're still in your suit. You're at home. Because it's more rooted in culture. And we don't address issues realizing where they come from because they're traditions. And to that point, Arthur, because they're traditions that we don't address, they become so entrenched that we villainize people who fall outside the box and not be flexible to address what my cousin said. Because if it is something that we're just like, oh, this is kind of like guidelines you want, you can talk to the sis and be like, hey, sis, I'll say from a guy standpoint, like, my dude, like, I know that you hit the gym. I know you could probably bench at least 350, but that turtleneck looks like Captain America's outfit. Like, you might want to get the size up, right? Like, why? Because the sisters behind, and because it's 20 nights, so they doing this. Aren't there? But they doing this and like trying to catch that low. Like, that's distracting. Like, we need to be able to address that, but we can't address it because the tradition is so entrenched that to do that is, again, pulling out that thread, pulling out that line that makes everything fall out. And that's my big thing about traditions. Like, I think we are afraid to look at traditions and look at what it is that we're doing and why we're doing them. You know what I'm saying? Here's a crazy thing. Do y'all know why you close your eyes when you pray?
Huh. No.
Rhonda, I think you're on mute.
I am muted. Hold on. I read it in the Bible somewhere, but it was many eons ago, so I can't remember why it was. But I feel like it was something to do with like minimizing distractions type of thing, so that you could focus on the prayer itself. And because if your eyes are open, then you might be watching, other things and not focusing on I think. Don't quote me, but I think that's what it was.
So we should close our eyes in church.
Here's another one. Why do you kneel down when you pray?
Yes. Isn't that a reverence thing of some sort?
People in the Bible stood up and prayed. People in the Bible put their faces to the ground and prayed.
I personally usually wear 4-inch heels and stockings to church, so I'm not kneeling, because if I kneel down, I'm not getting back up. So
you get where I'm coming from? Like, so many of these things that we do, and we don't know why we do them. And that was blowing my mind. I think it was somebody, Kat, who said like she can't even go back to her home church because if she wore what she wore now, they wouldn't even let her on the pulpit. And if that's what
sleeveless, if she went up there sleeveless.
And if a person who I think it is, that's a dope praise and worship leader. So now her gift doesn't get to shine because you are more concerned about what she's wearing. Come on, that's foolish, y'all. We gotta do better.
I've definitely, part of my little thing that I did, survey that I did on Instagram, I asked if anyone had ever seen someone turned away from the pulpit for either not having on stockings or for having on sleeveless dresses. Now, when I say a sleeveless dress, I mean the strap covers all it is. All you can see is from here down, but you're not allowed to go on the pulpit like that. Why? I don't know. I guess the bicep is sexy. That's seduction. I don't know. But they will tell you cannot go up there, or they will find you a shawl. They will something like. And on the other hand, so a friend of mine, a friend of mine said that you can't go on the pulpit unless you're wearing a tie, and I was like, especially for young people, and when I say young, I mean like when you're just being able to get involved in church, you're old enough to like have a dress code type of thing, like you're 9-ish, 10-ish, whatever it is. If I'm supposed to go up on the pulpit and read the scripture reading or whatever it is, and I'm wearing my prettiest dress that happens to be sleeveless, or I went up in my nice shirt but I didn't have a tie on, you tell me no, I can't go up there. I'm not volunteering for this again. And now you just lost somebody at 10 because I'm going to remember this. And I'm not coming back. I'm going to keep coming to church, but I'm not volunteering to be part of church. Now, when I'm 15, 16, 17, oh, the young people won't be a part of church. They wanted, well, what I tried, you told me no. You ain't going to hurt me twice. And something as small as that is definitely how we lose a lot of people. And I think people don't realize the little things that just be the last straw. That little thing just, nah, I'm done.
Yo, I want to address this too, because my cousin is absolutely right. So Bervon said, we kneel down when we pray in recognition of God as our creator and king. We also stand up and praise in recognition of our God, creator and king. Like, here's the thing, right? Like, we can use one thing to support a point, but there's another thing. Like, prayer is acknowledgement of God. Like, how you choose to do it is inherent to you. And some people, like, I tell people when I pray, enter into whatever posture of prayer that you're in. Because sometimes you're in a place where you feel your sin so much that you can't help but fall to the ground because you're seeking mercy. But other times you're in a place where you pray wanting to acknowledge all he does. So you stand up, lift up your arms and cry out to him because of how great he is. But like, when we don't address the tradition, we push it on people, and then they do something that is out of alignment with their spirit in the moment. And then all of a sudden, like my cousin says, you lose them, right? Because in that space, they were in one place and you tried to force their spirit to be in another, and now they're gone, all because of tradition. Right? What we gonna do then? Yo, I see that time is creeping up on us, y'all. So first, I want to make sure that if you have been watching and getting into the chat, please make sure that you have liked, subscribed, or shared at some point. Because again, this is our ministry. We are trying to keep this space open and relevant and accessible to anyone who wants to talk about things that's happening right now. We start off our show with Jesus Come Quickly Because. So we're going to do the same thing next week. We got into the body of it all, talking about you still doing that. And now we're going to talk about the connection, right? So let's get into that, the connection. So I'm gonna kick it off, right? And I want y'all to share what the connection is for you. For me, I want to challenge somebody out there this week to ask the question why. Whatever it is that you've been doing and you actually felt shamed for not doing, I just want you to ask yourself. That's the connection for me. You may continue to do it, you may not, but at least understand the why. So anyone out there watching this week, seriously, sit down, challenge yourself, and ask yourself why. That's the connection for me.
This lady.
My connection. My connection is very simple. I'm very fixated on young folks and how I think they get shafted a lot. So my connection is, you don't have to adopt nobody. You don't have to start a whole mentorship program, nothing. But if you see a young person that seems a little bit lost in any small way, go talk to them. That's it. Find a young person, develop some little relationship with them, say hi, something small. And when I say young person, it could be anything under the age of 25, whatever. Just find a young person and get me. Reach out to me. I need all the guidance I can get. Just try to put out a helping hand. That's it.
I think mine's is focus. It was interesting when we were saying closing your eyes during prayer kind of helps you stay away from any distraction, right? So, I mean, I was like, so should we close our eyes in church? Like, I mean, you know, you don't be distracted, you know, by anything, whatever. But the big thing is that now going to church isn't a thing, you know, like signing on to Zoom is now a thing. Like, you know, we're realizing that we are the church, right? So the focus has to shift, right? What really is church to you if, you know, now you have none of your cultural norms to rely on, none of your, you know, or other rituals or whatever. Shift your focus. I think that's the thing.
Okay, preach your point. Go ahead, shift your focus. What you got, Arthur?
Yeah, that's good. I was just gonna say, yeah, the point is not closed. The point is on Christ. And just really recognizing what are like what are like the biggest distractions in our lives that are distracting us from worship, from church, from most importantly, our relationship with God, you know, our relationship with Jesus. So that's basically the main point that I got. And then also like how are we not only like directly mentoring other people, but also how are we living out our lives that are best for people who, you know, are strangers that will come across us, or, you know, our social media, or just like in person, like at work, etc. Strangers that will come across our voice and our perspective and our lives, and that might be the only sermon that they ever hear, or that they ever see. And so that all plays into, you know, how we live our daily walks.
And I want to appreciate y'all for dropping what you guys thought the connection was, and for chopping it up with me this last hour. Also, to everyone out there again, to say that nauseum, I know this is the age we live in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Also, F.L.O.W is a movement, right? It's not just a ministry, it is a movement. We're all about accessibility and open spaces. We think your voice is valid because it's your voice. So join us for all the things that we put on throughout essentially the weekend right now. On Fridays at 7 o'clock, we have The Word, right, where we're chopping up. Like right now, we are discussing all, right? When the Bible says all, does it really mean everybody? Do you feel that includes you? Join us at 7 p.m. I think this Friday we got the homeboy Anderson, Chaplain Anderson, from the block. Anderson from the block. Like, he's got so many nicknames and acronyms that you got to come out and watch. Second, on Saturdays at 10:30, we get together in what we call Sabbath School, and we are continuing that discussion. This morning, matter of fact, this morning, Simone and Chandra are two of the F.L.O.W team members. They definitely led us in that conversation around restrictions and requirement. And then don't forget, at 4:30, 3 Saturdays out of your month, we have F.L.O.W Presents. And as you see, we are switching it up to make sure that you feel engaged and you feel connected. So next week, I hope you're ready. Jesus will come quickly, because we're going to talk about traditions and encouraging us to change them. And then finally, making sure that you have a connection. And last but not least, twice a month, we have Sunday dinner. And in a virtual space, all that means is you log onto a Zoom, you bring your plate of dish, and we talk about everything. Everything. I think the last conversation included Bridgerton, included that the Dorito. The Dorito may come up again. Like, how do you get the Dorito shape? How do I work to get to be a Dorito? That needs to be a goal of mine. But we got so many different opportunities for connection, and don't think that this is just virtual. We're just trying to stay connected, because when we get back together, we want to be able to see y'all in person. So that's all we got for you today. I love y'all. Stay connected. Stay tuned. Like, subscribe, and share. Peace out.